dopamine spike addictions. These substances promise instant energy, focus, and confidence. Cocaine floods your system within seconds, methamphetamine supercharges your brain for hours, and nicotine delivers calm in under 10 seconds. They all offer the same thing, a shortcut to feeling powerful, alert, and in control. The world sharpens, stress vanishes, and everything seems possible. That first hit feels like unlocking a version of yourself that's been hidden away. But here's what actually happens inside your brain. These drugs dump massive amounts of dopamine into your system all at once. Dopamine is the chemical that makes you feel good, motivated, and alive. Your brain wasn't designed to handle this much at one time, so it adapts. It starts shutting down dopamine receptors to protect itself, a process called downregulation. Suddenly, normal activities that used to feel rewarding, like eating, laughing, or spending time with people, feel dull and flat. Your brain has recalibrated to expect the flood. That's when the chase begins, and you don't even notice it happening. You start needing the substance just to feel normal. Without it, everything feels slower, grayer, emptier. The confidence you thought it gave you was just borrowed from your future self. Each hit digs the hole deeper. Your brain keeps lowering its natural dopamine production, convinced the drug will always be there to fill the gap. Before long, the choice becomes about avoiding the crash, not chasing the high. The substance stops being optional. It becomes the baseline. Comfort-numbing addictions. Alcohol and opioids promise relief. They quiet the noise in your head, melt away stress, and wrap you in warmth. After a drink, your shoulders relax, conversations flow easier, and worries fade into the background. With opioids, pain disappears completely. Physical hurt, emotional ache, all of it dissolves into a heavy, safe calm. For a while, these substances feel like the solution to everything difficult about being human. Here's the chemistry behind that comfort. Alcohol boosts GABA, a brain chemical that slows everything down, while suppressing glutamate, which keeps you alert and anxious. Opioids flood your system with artificial versions of endorphins, the chemicals your body uses to manage pain naturally. Both create a chemical blanket over discomfort, but your brain notices the outside help and starts producing less of its own calming chemicals. It learns to wait for the substance instead of making peace on its own. Then the rebound hits, and this is where control slips away. When the substance wears off, your brain's stress response fires back twice as hard. Anxiety that wasn't there before suddenly arrives. Pain you could handle before becomes unbearable. Your body has adjusted to the chemical assistance, and now normal life feels impossible without it. You drink or use again, not for pleasure, but just to stop the discomfort the last dose created. The cycle tightens. What started as relief becomes the only thing standing between you and panic your brain manufactured on its own. Predictive reward addictions. Gambling and loot boxes promise the thrill of winning. One more spin, one more box, one more hand could be the big one. The anticipation builds, your heart races, and for a moment, anything feels possible. Even when you lose, you were so close. That near miss feels like progress, like the win is just around the corner. The suspense becomes intoxicating. Here's what makes this so powerful. Your brain releases dopamine not when you win, but when you think you might win. This is called a variable reward schedule, the same mechanism that keeps animals hunting even when food is scarce. Slot machines and loot boxes are engineered around this. Wins come randomly, unpredictably, just often enough to keep you hooked. Your brain can't tell the difference between almost winning and actually winning. A near miss triggers the same dopamine spike, tricking you into thinking success is within reach. Losses start feeling like mistakes instead of the inevitable outcome. This is where the trap closes without you noticing. You stop playing for the reward and start playing to resolve the tension. The uncertainty itself becomes the drug. Your survival circuitry, designed to help you find food and safety, gets hijacked by flashing lights and random chance. You keep chasing because your brain interprets the pattern as solvable, even when the odds never change. Before long, you're not gambling to win anymore. You're gambling because stopping feels worse than losing. Validation addictions. Social media promises connection and visibility. Scrolling through feeds offers endless novelty, quick laughs, and the feeling that you're staying informed. Posting something and watching the likes roll in delivers a rush of validation. People see you, acknowledge you, approve of you. For a moment, you matter. The numbers climb, the notifications buzz, and your brain lights up with each one. Here's the chemistry driving that feeling. Every like, comment, and share triggers a dopamine hit, but these rewards come unpredictably. Sometimes a post explodes, sometimes it dies quietly. Your brain doesn't know when the next hit is coming, so it keeps you checking, refreshing, waiting. This intermittent reinforcement is the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. Over time, your sense of self-worth begins to sync with those metrics. A post that flops feels like personal rejection. A viral moment feels like proof of value. Your brain rewires to measure success in hearts and thumbs. The takeover happens gradually. You start checking your phone compulsively, even when there's nothing new. The phantom buzz pulls you back constantly. Offline moments feel incomplete, like you're missing something important. Real conversations become less rewarding than digital feedback. You stop creating for yourself and start performing for an invisible audience. Self-worth becomes something others grant you in tiny doses. You curate your life to fit what performs well, hiding the parts that don't generate engagement. Before you realize it, you've handed control of how you feel about yourself to strangers filters, and algorithms. The audience becomes your drug dealer, and you keep coming back for another hit of approval. Novelty-chasing addictions. Porn and dating apps promise unlimited variety and instant satisfaction. There's always someone new to see, something different to experience, another swipe that might lead somewhere exciting. The options feel endless. Every click or swipe delivers a micro hit of possibility, a fresh face, a new scenario. Your brain lights up with anticipation, convinced that the next one will be better, more interesting, more fulfilling than the last. Here's what happens beneath the surface. Novelty itself triggers dopamine release. Your brain evolved to reward exploration because finding new resources helps survival. But porn and dating apps exploit this by offering infinite novelty with zero effort. Each new image or profile gives you a small dopamine burst, but it fades instantly, pushing you toward the next one. Over time, your brain's dopamine receptors become fatigued. What used to excite you stops working. You need more intensity, more extremes, more variety just to feel the same level of interest. Real intimacy and connection can't compete with engineered stimulation. The shift happens quietly. You find yourself scrolling longer, seeking content that once would have felt too extreme. Actual relationships start feeling boring or disappointing compared to the fantasy loop. Your brain has learned that satisfaction comes from the hunt, not the catch. Emotional connection becomes secondary to visual stimulation. You keep searching for something that will finally feel like enough, but the mechanism ensures nothing ever does. The chase rewires you to prefer distance over depth, novelty over presence, work and productivity. Addiction, hustle culture, and workaholism promise purpose and achievement. Crossing tasks off your list feels satisfying. Finishing a project gives you a rush. Working late makes you feel valuable, dedicated, like you're building towards something meaningful. Every completed goal proves you matter. Rest starts to feel like laziness, and downtime feels like wasted potential. Productivity becomes identity. Here's the chemical cocktail fueling this. When you accomplish something, your brain releases dopamine, the reward chemical. But when you're under pressure, it also floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline, stress hormones that sharpen focus and increase energy. Together, they create a potent blend that feels like being alive, needed, and important. Your body learns to associate this heightened state with success. Relaxation starts registering as falling behind. Your nervous system stays activated, constantly scanning for the next task, the next deadline, the next proof of worth. The trap closes without warning. You stop working to achieve goals and start working to avoid the discomfort of not working. Sitting still feels wrong. Vacation makes you anxious. Your body forgets how to rest because rest now triggers withdrawal. Exhaustion becomes a badge of honor instead of a warning signal. Relationships suffer because people can't compete with a dopamine hit of completion. You tell yourself you'll slow down later, after this project, after this promotion, but later never comes. Your brain has rewritten the rules. Being busy becomes the only way to feel okay. Food and sugar addiction. Junk food and ultra-processed snacks promise comfort and satisfaction. That first bite of something sweet, salty, or crispy delivers instant pleasure. Stress melts away, boredom disappears, and for a moment everything feels better. These foods are designed to taste better than anything found in nature. They're engineered to hit what scientists call the bliss point, the perfect combination of sugar, fat, and salt that makes your brain light up. Here's what happens inside your body. Sugar and processed foods spike your dopamine levels, similar to addictive drugs, just less intensely. Your blood sugar shoots up fast, giving you energy and focus, but your pancreas responds by flooding your system with insulin to bring that sugar back down. Within an hour or two, your blood sugar crashes below where it started. Suddenly you feel tired, irritable, and hungry again. Your brain remembers that the food fixed this feeling last time, so it sends a craving signal. Meanwhile, the dopamine hit trains your brain to want these foods specifically, not just any food. The cycle becomes automatic. You reach for a snack when you're stressed, bored, or tired, even when you're not actually hungry. Natural foods start tasting bland because your taste buds have recalibrated to expect intense flavors. Portion control feels impossible because these foods are designed to override your satiation signals. You keep eating past fullness, chasing a satisfaction that never quite arrives. Your body stops trusting its own hunger cues, and eating becomes about feeding a craving your brain created. Shopping and spending addiction. Online shopping promises fulfillment and excitement. Browsing through products feels productive, like you're improving your life. Adding items to your cart creates anticipation. That moment when you click purchase delivers a genuine rush. Something new is coming, something that might make you happier, more organized, more complete. The package arriving feels like Christmas morning, even when you bought it yourself. Here's the brain chemistry behind it. The act of shopping, not owning, releases dopamine. Your brain lights up during the hunt, the comparison, the decision to buy. Anticipation triggers more pleasure than actually receiving the item. When the package arrives, you get a brief spike of satisfaction as you open it, but within hours or days, the item becomes just another possession. The excitement drains completely. You're left with buyer's remorse, guilt about spending, or just emptiness. So your brain suggests a solution. Buy something else. The pattern repeats before you notice. Shopping becomes the answer to boredom, stress, sadness, or even happiness. Your credit card balance climbs while your closet fills with things you don't need and barely use. You tell yourself each purchase will be the last one, that this item is different, different, necessary, worth it. But the dopamine reward trains your brain to seek the transaction itself, not the product. You start shopping to feel something, to fill a gap that buying things created in the first place. The high comes from spending, and the crash guarantees you'll spend again. Ownership never delivers what the purchase promised. Relationship addiction. Certain relationships promise intensity and passion. The highs feel electric. Conversations run deep into the night, and when things are good, you're euphoric. You feel seen, needed, alive in ways you've never experienced. The connection seems profound, like you've found something rare. Every reunion after conflict feels like falling in love again. The drama convinces you this must be real because it hurts so much. Here's what creates that magnetic pull. During intense moments, your brain releases oxytocin, the bonding chemical, along with dopamine. But here's the trap. The relationship operates on intermittent reinforcement. Affection comes unpredictably. One day you're everything to them, the next you're fighting or getting silence. This inconsistency triggers the same addictive pattern as gambling. Your brain can't predict when the next moment of closeness will come, so it stays hyper-focused, waiting, hoping, analyzing every interaction for signs. The uncertainty becomes intoxicating. Control slips away quietly. You start organizing your life around their moods and availability. When they withdraw, panic sets in. The fear of losing them overrides logic, red flags, and advice from people who care about you. You mistake the anxiety for love and the relief for happiness. Your brain has bonded pain with connection so tightly that healthy relationships feel boring by comparison. You return after each fight, not because things improve, but because your nervous system is hooked on the cycle itself. The person becomes your source of pain and your only relief from it. That's not connection. That's dependency, wearing the mask of destiny. Anger and conflict addiction, political outrage and drama promise, clarity and purpose. Being angry feels powerful. You see the problem, you know who's wrong, and you're on the right side. Scrolling through infuriating news or jumping into arguments gives you an adrenaline rush. Your heart races, your mind sharpens, and suddenly you feel awake. Righteousness courses through you. For those, or moments, you matter. You're fighting for something. Here's the chemistry driving that feeling. Anger triggers adrenaline and cortisol, stress hormones that prepare your body for conflict. These create a genuine high, a surge of energy and focus. When you express outrage, especially if others validate it, your brain releases dopamine. You feel powerful, certain, and connected to people who share your anger. Over time, your brain starts associating this chemical cocktail with identity. Being upset becomes who you are. Calm feels empty by comparison. The pattern embeds itself quietly. You start seeking out content that makes you angry because the rage feels better than numbness. Your feed becomes a curated stream of outrages. Conversations turn into battles. Anyone who disagrees becomes an enemy, and enemies give you purpose. You stop engaging with ideas and start fueling your nervous system. The body craves the spike, so the mind finds reasons to be furious. Peace feels like apathy. Letting go feels like surrender. You convince yourself you're staying informed or fighting for justice, but really, you're just feeding a loop your brain built. Anger stopped being a response. It became the reward. Pain and struggle, addiction, chaos and crisis promise familiarity. If you grew up in instability, calm can feel threatening. Your nervous system learned early that drama means you're alive, alert, ready. When life gets peaceful, something feels wrong, so you create problems. You pick fights, make impulsive decisions, or surround yourself with unstable people. The crisis feels like coming home. Struggle becomes your baseline, and anything else feels fake. Here's why your brain does this. When you experience chronic stress early in life, your nervous system calibrates to expect danger. High cortisol and adrenaline become your normal state. Peace doesn't register as safety, it registers as the calm before disaster. Your brain interprets stability as a threat because it's unfamiliar, so it generates anxiety to return you to the stress level it recognizes. This is called familiarity bias. Your system would rather feel bad in a way it understands than feel good in a way it doesn't trust. The self-sabotage happens automatically. Right when things start going well, you unconsciously blow it up. A good relationship becomes boring, so you create conflict. A stable job feels too easy, so you quit. Success makes you uncomfortable, so you find ways to fail. You convince yourself you're just unlucky or broken, but really, your brain is protecting you from the unfamiliar feeling of being okay. The struggle isn't something happening to you anymore. It's something you're seeking because your nervous system mistakes suffering for home. Crisis feels safer than peace because it's predictable. Technology and information addiction. Constant digital stimulation promises knowledge and connection. Every notification might be important. Every scroll might reveal something interesting. The internet offers infinite content, infinite answers, infinite distraction. You feel productive, informed, plugged into everything happening everywhere. Boredom disappears, silence gets filled, your brain stays busy, and busy feels necessary. Here's what constant input does to your system. Every new piece of information, every video, every headline triggers a small dopamine release. These micro hits come so frequently that your brain gets stuck in a loop. It stops producing dopamine for slower, deeper activities, like reading a book or having a conversation. Your attention span shortens because your neural pathways have been trained to expect stimulation every few seconds. The brain's default mode network, which activates during rest and helps you process thoughts and emotions, never gets a chance to turn on. You're always consuming, never reflecting. The dependency builds with without announcement. You reach for your phone the moment you wake up. Waiting in line feels unbearable without scrolling. Being alone with your thoughts creates anxiety. You can't watch a show without checking your phone during boring parts. Focus becomes impossible because your brain is constantly scanning for the next hit. When you try to disconnect, withdrawal sets in. Restlessness, irritability, the feeling that you're missing something critical. Your nervous system has forgotten how to exist without input. Stillness doesn't feel like peace anymore. It feels like punishment. The stimulation promised to keep you informed, but it actually just broke your ability to be present.